Hey everyone, welcome to Let's Talk Science News. I'm Professor Y, and here with me today is Nebula.
Hello everyone.
And today we're going to talk about kangaroos and can kangaroos communicate with humans? Right, so here we are on Science Daily, and we have the title here, What's Up, Skip? Kangaroos really can talk to us, study finds. Kangaroos can intentionally communicate with humans, research revealed. And we'll just go through the article a bit. So the summary is the animals that have never been domesticated, such as kangaroos, can intentionally communicate with humans, challenging the notion that this behavior is usually restricted to domesticated animals like dogs, horses, or goats. A new study have found. Now we're going to go through that study, and I'm going to call into question this summary right here where it says animals that have never been domesticated, because as we get into the details, we'll see that's a little bit iffy in this case. So let's just go through a bit more. So the research which involved kangaroos, again, they say marsupials that were never domesticated, and we'll have to really refine the definition of domesticated here because they use 3 locations, but the locations which they mention at the bottom here are the Australian Reptile Park, the Whitney Wildlife Sydney Zoo, and the Kangaroo Protection Cooperative. And so what they did is we went to the original study here on this abstract, and we looked at some of the pictures here. So basically they separated the kangaroos, and basically it's mentioned here that they took a few of the most friendlier ones. Is that how it was, yeah. Nebula?
They said they took the most approachable ones. They took the friendlier ones. And we went to the Sydney Wildlife Zoo website.
Yeah, which is right here.
And as you can see, the kangaroos seem very generally very friendly and probably are already exposed to humans. So when they say never been domesticated, no, they're not living in people's houses, but they've already been exposed to many humans and have good connections with humans.
Yeah, so right here that they specifically say they were selected based on their willingness to approach the experimenter. So they're already interacting with humans at these zoos, and the experimenters took the most willing to approach the experiment. So they're already friendly with humans. So to say that they're not domesticated, yeah, they're not domesticated enough to live in your house, for example, like a dog or a cat, but they are already friendly to people. So, and again, let me.
But this study does prove that kangaroos can communicate with people. It proves that they are physically able to, mentally able to, but does not mean that undomesticated kangaroos will do it.
Right. I think the title is a little, the summary title here, not domesticated, is a little bit iffy because they're pretty familiar with humans already. So let's just go a little bit through. So basically what they did is they put some food in a box, and they this is called the unsolvable task, and they do this often with dogs. And so what they do, for example, is they take a box, they put food in it, they let it be opened by the animal, and they train the animal a few times so that the animal is able to get food. And then at one point they block the opening, so the dog or the animal cannot open the box anymore, and they just have a human standing nearby, and they see if the dog, in this case the kangaroo, would look up at the human to see if the animal says, hey, what's wrong with this box? I can't get my food, right? So that's what they did, and they found that the animals, the kangaroos, did look at humans a lot of the time, and so their conclusion is that animals, these kangaroos, will look at humans. So they're looking at the gaze of the human to see, like, basically, hey, open this box for me, dude. I can't get my food.
Yeah, I think, but it's actually pretty interesting because if kangaroos can do it, maybe you can try with some of the more unfriendly kangaroos, the ones that are not as familiar with humans, that is to say. And if it still works with kangaroos, then you can move on to other animals. And this is actually kind of interesting, because does that mean that animals can communicate with us? And if animals can communicate with us, whether it is looking at us or making certain noises or gestures, does that mean that any animal can do this, not just kangaroos?
Right. So that's pretty interesting. Right now, they've had that. Obviously, dogs and cats could do it. They've tried it on goats. They've done it with horses. And so these are animals that have been around humans for centuries. Kangaroos, not so much. So that's why they wanted to test them out. So even though these kangaroos were not totally domesticated, but they were familiar with people, the kangaroos had enough cognitive intelligence to look at the human and to know, say, hey, you put this box here, why can't I open it? That's pretty good for an animal to be able to pick up on. I don't know about our cat. Our cat doesn't even do that necessarily. It just sits there and waits. But we haven't trained it to do that too. So that, I mean, I find that I think what you mentioned to me, Nebula, was that the title here or the summary here was a little bit clickbaity, is a little bit,
Yeah.
I wouldn't say clickbaity, I would say a little bit exaggerated. They've exaggerated. These aren't wild, completely wild animals, but pretty cool experiment. Although there was only 11 kangaroos involved, so that's not a lot of sample size. It's not like they've done it a lot.
Especially if they're choosing the 11 most familiar or friendly with humans.
Yeah. So that's about it for our Let's Talk Science news video of the day, and I hope to see you again.